Jennifer González-Colón, Puerto Rican gubernatorial candidate. In October of 2008, Gonzalez organized an event to honor Joelito Labachit Escarra, a Cuban right-wing extremist who was a member of a terrorist organization Omega 7. He has been linked to death squad operations in Puerto Rico in the 70s and 80s. Most notably the killing of Carlos Muñiz Varela. Varela, born in Cuba, was a worker who married and lived in Puerto Rico. He managed the Varadero travel agency, promoting travel and dialogue with revolutionary Cuba, a policy opposed by the United States government. Varela was also active in the National Committee of the Antonio Maceo Brigade, which organized solidarity trips to Cuba. The event was interrupted when activists protested outside the Puerto Rican Capitol building, as it was after the murder of Filiberto Ojeda Rios and the raids conducted against pro-independence groups. Once police and security violently repressed the protesters, Gonzalez continued with the event until it was once again interrupted. Gonzalez is not a champion of the Puerto Rican people if she honors those who have committed murders against human rights activists.
Y un bochorno para todos los puertorriqueños el tener una manifestación.
El homenaje finalmente se efectuó con un reducido grupo de amigos del homenajeado.
Invitado esta noche, Joelito Labachit. Tras bastidores, que se señala así como el cerebro, parte de los cerebros que terminaron asesinando a Muñiz Varela. Yo difiero del término de que tú le pones de asesinato. Para mí, no un asesinato, fue un ajusticiamiento a destiempo, porque el ajusticiamiento se hizo cuando él tenía 27 años, había que haberlo hecho cuando nació.
A esto, la representante organizadora de reconocimiento a Joelito Labachit, Jennifer Gonzalez, aseguró que el sabotaje fue una conducta intolerante que debe castigarse.
Y aquellos que seducen a la intolerancia, aquellos que no saben respetar la libertad de credo, la libertad de expresión y mucho menos la libertad de pensamiento, en esto bajo la bandera americana.
Her interest aligned with the robber barons, which includes bondholders and those who hold business interest with the Jones Act. As the resident commissioner of Puerto Rico, González-Colón has been an ardent supporter of the Jones Act and American maritime as a whole. She is a member of the U.S. House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. The Jones Act hindered the ability for the island to get resources during Hurricane Maria and also increases the cost of goods that are imported. Her current campaign director Francisco J. Domenech Fernandez, once employed through Politank, hired to lobby, at various levels of the government of Puerto Rico, and obtain a favorable adjustment for creditors in the negotiation of the public debt. Gonzalez favored an agreement that supported the restructuring between the creditors of PREPA and the Financial Advisory and Fiscal Agency Authority, AAFAF, at the beginning of April of last year. Said agreement was later vetoed by the Fiscal Control Board for not adapting to the fiscal plan of that public corporation. That agreement provided for a repayment of 85% of the debt. On the other hand, the scale of the success bonus that would be paid to Politank if they reached favorable agreements started at the level of 82.5% of the repayment, $250,000 bonus, and goes up to over 95%, $3 million bonus. Her ties to Israel are well known, noted in her flight record as well as meeting with heads of state. She supports H.R. 7866, or the United States-Israel Anti-Tunnel Cooperation Enhancement Act, a bill to amend the National Defense Authorization Act to improve cooperation between the United States and Israel on anti-tunnel defense capabilities. Supported of H.Res. 888, reaffirming the State of Israel's right to exist. Resolution reaffirming the State of Israel's right to exist. Also is supported of H.Res. 798, condemning freedom of speech at institutions of higher education, in particular those condemning Israel and its war crimes. Her position is mainly focused on statehood, but the issues of the island cannot be solved merely by becoming a state. Infrastructure, debt and accessibility for resources is the crucial issue on the archipelago. The island has gone through a lot in the past decade. $70 billion debt, a federally imposed fiscal control board, cuts to education, pensions, and health services, the aftermath of Hurricanes Irma and Maria, earthquakes, government corruption, a pandemic, blackouts and Luma, and rampant gentrification. González-Colón was a Trump supporter, even after the former president said Puerto Rico was dirty and the people were poor, and additionally attempted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland, all the while blocking hurricane relief aid. We also cannot forget she was even one of the chairs of Latinos for Trump during the 2020 U.S. presidential campaign. She cares more about the perception of doing something in Washington than actually advocate for residents. Jennifer González-Colón will prove to be menacing for those on the archipelago advocating for change.